What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 2021 Stumpjumper EVO. So first, we'll talk about why I chose this bike. I not only chose this because it's a Specialized bike, which is a very reputable brand that has been around for many years making incredible mountain bikes, but also because it won 2021 Pink Bike Academy Awards Best Mountain Bike of the Year. Now that's no easy feat for any brand to say, and there's many reasons why, so let's talk about it. First off, you have two different spots where you can adjust the geometry and make it act like a totally different bike. So first off, in our head tube, you can change the head tube angle from 63.5 all the way up to 65.5. Personally, I keep it in the 64.5 because I find that's the perfect balance, but if you're more in a descending area, then 63.5 might be a better option. So now we're going to talk about the other part, which is the rear. Now in the rear there's a flip chip that can allow you to adjust your geometry to make it so that the bottom bracket either goes up 7 millimeters or down 7 millimeters. Now if you put it in the lower position, you'll be more inclined to get pedal strikes, but going through corners will be super confidence inspiring and you'll feel much more stable. You can also put it in the high setting. Now the high setting raises it 7 millimeters, and this is what I use because on the low setting I found that it was very confidence inspiring through corners, but getting rock strikes all the time wasn't worth it for it. So I keep it in the high setting with the 7 millimeter high bottom bracket. For my Stumpjumper EVO, I chose the S5. Now this fits me perfectly. Now it is a very long bike, as you can tell. I mean, it's close to a 1300 wheelbase, which is very long for most people, so that'd be like an extra large or an extra large. But since I'm 6 foot tall, I like this longer bike. It feels very stable through high speed stuff, and I don't feel as though it's too big for me. I don't feel that I can't get around a corner fast enough. Now it's not as agile as my other bike that was smaller, but it's still amazing and I love it. This frame had a lot of development going into the characteristics of the carbon. Now you can find some bikes that are too flexy, so whenever you pump through stuff, you'll feel as though your bike's kind of moving underneath you and you're losing energy. But if it's too harsh or too stiff of a frame, then what can happen is that through bumps and stuff, you'll feel every single little bump and it's just an unenjoyable ride. But Specialized strike the perfect balance between those two mediums. It's not too flexy to where you can notice anything, and it's not too stiff to where you can feel things through the bike. So now let's talk about the suspension design. Now this suspension design is very innovative. At the very beginning of it, it has a more rearward axle path, which means that through bumps and small like chatter, the wheel will move backwards out of the way so that you won't feel it. And I can definitely tell that on the trails. I mean, whenever I'm going through stuff, I almost don't even feel the chatter. It's so good. And it also feels very supportive. I mean, whenever I hit big stuff, it can handle like 12-foot drops, 30-foot gap jumps or whatever, and this thing can just support you. Now I have had to add another volume spacer into it, but the bike's geometry makes it so that it's not harsh as you go through the travel, and it feels very supportive at the same time. So now let's talk about pedal efficiency. Now this bike was a surprise how efficient it was on the climbs. I mean, I was even able to go to a cross-country race and get 6th place on a race behind someone with a 100 mil like hardtail bike who's been doing cross-country for who knows how long, and this bike was able to keep up. Now it might not have been as efficient, but this thing is incredible. I mean, it climbs so well up, and then it descends so well down. It's like the perfect all-rounder bike. So if you're wanting a bike that you can get up the hill and not have to work your butt off, and then get down the hill and don't feel like you need more bike, this is the perfect bike for you. So now let's talk about the components on this bike. Now this bike that I got is the Specialized Stumpjumper EVO Comp, which is their cheapest option. Now I love this color. I mean, it's like a white clay color. It's a great, and it's gloss too. It's a great color, and it even looks more white than clay in my opinion, but it does have a small clay undertone. But the components on here are the DPX2, the SLX brakes, and one of the wheels. Now, this bike has a lot of new stuff on here. As the Fox 38, I've added on there, and this 2021 Fox transfer dropper and 1-up carbon bars, but the brakes I have kept the same. And I have also changed the drivetrain out to SRAM because that's what I have on my old bike, and I do prefer SRAM drivetrains over it. So it does come with SLX which was a very good drivetrain, but I just prefer SRAM and I decided to do that. So also a really cool feature about this bike is the in-house or down tube storage. There's something called a swatter bottle, which is a water bladder that goes inside the down tube, which is an awesome backup just in case if you run out of water. And then there's also something called a swatter pouch, which goes inside of here, inside of the down tube, and it can hold anything from a first aid kit to snacks to whatever you want. And there's also a cool multi-tool down at the bottom of the water bottle cage, so that if you ever need a multi-tool, it comes in clutch. Overall, I've really enjoyed this bike. I mean, I've had it for 2 months and it has been the most incredible bike I've ever had. And I really hope that this video helped inform you guys on this mountain bike, and I hope that I can help you in your decision for your next mountain bike. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to shred the gnarly.